What are you guys doing sleeping on Northstar? Oh, what I meant to say is lights out. And this isn't even conventional. This is a plasma railgun. I assumed it was just a regular railgun. I don't know what it's shooting. Is it shooting some sort of plasma? Is it that hot? Am I hot? Is your man be hot? Alright, that's it. Nerf me. Nerf me! I'm sure some of you guys have heard that. I laughed when I heard it. Alright, so what are we going to be doing here? Well, I'm going to be showing you guys some Northstar action. Is it anything new that you haven't seen? Am I going to drop some wisdom on you? I hope so. Usually in each video I like to entertain you guys with some clips, but of course I like to talk a little bit about certain ones I think you could really learn from, and some that you're just going to have fun with. But actually, usually I go for the first one. I try to show you guys things that you guys are going to be able to apply to your own play. That first clip just showed you how lethal it is against pilots, and it also threw in the cluster missile trick in order to kill somebody that's trying to rodeo you. Alright, let's lay some traps, let's start backing away. Can Ronin catch up to you? Yes, because he has that weird dash when he comes out of his phase shift where he can really boost himself. We got the same thing going on with thrusters. Plus, we also have the ability to actually fly over certain structures. The better you know the maps, the better you're going to perform as a Northstar pilot. Plus, I did take a peek at a Master's playbook. I was on Dinosaur's channel. I'm like, am I crazy? Do I actually know what I'm talking about? So I went on his channel and I looked at a few things. I'm like, awesome. Okay, I'm like, I'm on the right track. But he has a lot of good videos to get started with. Like, I think you have to learn the basic mechanics always, and then you make things happen. Then you apply all those little tricks that you're going to see on his video into like actually thinking like a Northstar, like paying attention to elevation changes. When I get out of a Titan like this, it's kind of weird to describe how it feels to jump off of it, and there is a timing, but I didn't feel like I was actually going to get up there. I was expecting to actually hit the lip, so I was already jumping back, ready to jump forward, aim, and shoot. I know that this spot is worth it. The window's going to be small. I am super committed, but that's how I think I have to think as a Northstar. Like, I have to make all these shots count. Some things just pay off, and I think the reason that paid off is because I was so committed. I'm like, this is definitely the next spot. But I expected him to run. That's why I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is gonna be tight. And when I'm on with this Titan, I'm on. And when you're off, like trying to fly high and you're out of position, you crumple like a paper airplane. You're going down in flames. Or if you're lucky enough, you'll eject out of those flames and then come out on top. There is such a thing as good mine placement and amazing mine placement. I don't know why I'm calling them mines. Sorry, your tether traps. Those things are your main lifeline. The first thing is to know that you are putting them in channels that kind of protect you. You have a way out. You're like, okay, if they try to charge, I'm already going backwards. You know, all these things. Amazing placement is when you're taking into account, can they shoot it? Until I see them shoot one of these tethers, I practically own this area. There's not much they're going to be able to do. He's going to take a shot in the face if he tries to go through this way. I'm like, is he clever enough to be trying to flank me? In which case it would be really good. Something just blew up in the back. What do we have here? We have the Titan I want, but his buddy's still here. Quick little getaway. Let's just get out of here. Maybe that will delay them. If it doesn't delay them, but usually it does. Oh my god, I die inside a little bit when I see people running invis but not hiding their thrusters. It's just silly. Don't do it. You got to get the whole package if you really want to be that sneak. I was so disappointed when I didn't get that, but that's alright. I feel like right now this guy's in a pretty bad position. Now, when I see this guy out of the corner of my eye, I'm waiting so they line up a little bit because I don't want to be wasting my core aiming away, but usually I make special focus of getting rid of pilots whenever I'm up against other Titans when I'm using my core. This is the same thing for Ion. Usually I try to quickly laser the pilot and then go back to the Titan. So that's kind of why this clip has everything for me. That grenade really kind of finished off that fight. I got to give a battery. I get to get a lot of meter built up for my Titan, and then you can do this all over again. Which perks do you want to use with Northstar? I think you have a lot of options. The most obvious ones are the double tether traps and then the cluster missile. They just seem to have the most utility, but I still think there's even more leeway depending on how you're going to play your Titan. I honestly believe it's going to be based more on your style and possibly your team. Like, I can't emphasize enough, like, this comes up in pilots versus pilot. It comes up in any game mode, right? If you don't have proper support, it's a lot harder to engage, but it's like way more when it comes to Titans. I notice that I can usually keep up with a coordinated team until the Titans come out. Then 2v1 Titans is way harder than 2v1 pilots. Like I've always said, more pilots the better. The time to kill can be very fast, so you don't have to worry, but when it's about sustained DPS and you're going up against a team, you're going to have a hard time. And that's not even a Northstar thing. But the truth is that you may just die faster because of how little armor you have. Once you get caught out with Northstar, you can pretty much kiss your Titan goodbye. Now, one of the cool things about Northstar is that it is the only true nuke eject Titan. Every other Titan does not actually have it. Like, when people were like, oh, only cheap people use nuke eject, it's like, honestly, you gotta be somewhat of a chump to get caught with nuke eject these days. It's like, how many times are you gonna get caught by nuke eject in one match? Never mind a rematch. As soon as that happens, you're usually saving a dash, or, you know, if you're one of the Titans that can teleport Ronin, you know, like, you just say that and you're always gone. Even having an extra dash and you go in there with 2, you save your last one. You know, like, there's a bunch of ways to do it. It's the same thing when going up against a Scorch. And did you guys just see that? Like, that does not happen often, that somebody jumps out of their Titan. That was a Titanfall 1 thing. This time, there's other tricks in order to get them off. I guess he had no countermeasures. He didn't. I knew that. And I guess he played to the best of his ability. Actually, it was really good. His Titan could not do anything about that. Huh. But I still think the safer move is to just stay in your Titan. Like, he had the element of surprise, no doubt. I think I could have gotten him, but that Titan, like, really... You just never know what they're gonna do. Sometimes they're crazy like that. Reapers, man. I've been recording these kills by Reapers. I don't know, did they turn up the difficulty of Reapers around me or something? Because these guys are jumping up to, like, high levels and then sniping me in the back of the head like real gangster. Just pew pew. Like, they don't even need to do the whole rapid fire thing. I'm just dead. They headshot me in the back. They're like, boom, dead bitch. And I'm like, okay. And then I come back and I'm like, I'm just gonna feast on your friends, your sentry friends. And you know what? They leave you alone for a while. They're not super consistent. But it's that threat. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like when someone's gonna teabag you. No, sorry, tea your bag. Bag your tea. However you say that. You know what I'm trying to say, kids. And then you're like left in this defensive posture, but they may not do it for like 2 days and that whole time, and then you end up getting hit in the nuts anyways. Like this dude, I thought we had a gentleman's agreement. We were gonna go up in the air together, but instead he decided to start locking in with an archer rocket, which I think may kill me. So I had no choice. I was just defending myself. I have tons of witnesses. You all saw it. Alright. Let's see if we can get away with one more. I'm feeling this guy with the battery. He ran off. Now this is unfortunate. People complain about not doing executions, and to me, it's always like, why? Why? I didn't want one that time. I find when I'm going really quick with the slingshot, sometimes when I'm in front of them, it'll just go right into an execution. I'm like, I guess I must have hit them that hard. But we will not be denied. This has nothing to do with Northstar other than the fact that I ejected out of it. That was more just for that. Are you not entertained? I think that was better than the last time. So am I trying to be Roman or am I trying to be Russell Crowe? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Are you not entertained? Entertained? Entertained. Did you see how many shots that was? That was a hell of a lot. And when you have something that has such a long reload time and you get a free reload every time you use your amp weapons, plus now it's amped, it's a shit ton of DPS. You save 2. 2 is usually enough. You look at the kind of shot. If you know they're not going to be dodging because they're really busy, try to use them right away instead of trying to actually get 30 seconds out of each one. However, this Titan is unique with nuclear eject because it does have the tether traps, but even then there's outs, you can shoot them. If not, there's always your wild card, which gives you 3 seconds of invincibility when you go into your own eject, so you should never technically be dying to nuclear eject. And obviously there's exceptions because I kill myself with my own nuke eject all the time. You really have to remember if you're indoors or there's some sort of roof or anything that's going to get in your way as you eject, you dead. But you know what, we can actually talk a little bit about the dome shield. I don't see a lot of people take advantage of it. With Northstar, I found that my typical tactic of dropping my Titan right in the thick of it, because I like using the dome shield, I find that I can get a lot of DPS out from its safety with my anti-Titan gun. So it is something that I like to take advantage of, but however, I find that with Northstar, you typically don't want to be spawning really in the action. It's not the best place, even with the hover ability and your trap to start plus cluster missile. It's like, yes, you can do it, but I don't think you want to put yourself in that kind of position early on as a Northstar. I think that's, yeah, it's just not smart play. I'm not saying you can't do it. Like, hell yeah, like I've had Titans on me and, you know, everything works out. The tether grabs them. I managed to dash away and they miss their melee, or, you know, like there's going to be all these scenarios, but I don't think it's the best way to do it. Plus, I find that it's kind of fast to charge your core with this Titan because you're peppering people from the backfield. If you happen to hit other Titans, great. But the thing is, you're really lethal against pilots. Plus, you're really lethal against AI. You can just one-shot them. It's so quick at any distance. I think that's one of the big things. Plus the cluster missile hits the ones that are indoors. I find it that I get this core quite a bit. And sometimes I'm like, I'm so fragile, but the core itself usually comes through for me. As well, it depends on how well you're playing and if you get flanked. If you get flanked yourself, you're done. I really like double tethers though, because it almost gives you a second life sometimes. If they get one of the traps, if they get hit then by both of them, you know, they have to shoot them off, and it takes a lot of... you have to keep your cool to get out of one of those situations where you actually get caught by the tether and you're not rolling, you can just teleport. When you actually have to shoot them yourself, it's a whole other ballpark, because now you're trying to keep your eye on him, you're trying to strafe as much as you can while finding these things and getting them off. You either go into a defensive, you know your eye on, you're like, okay, I'm caught, I'm gonna have to shield, and then he's like trying to wait you out to shoot you with his railgun, right? Like, this is the game. So there's so many ways this can go, but I've always noticed that the human error part is so high, especially when playing with this Titan. Like, when my shots are off, the shots are off. I'm like, okay, this is, I just need to back off, and that's kind of the way this Titan is. Like, it is still a skill shot. It's not as bad as the Kraber, because the projectile is so much bigger. Plus, it also gives you angles, and you have so much more life. Like, you don't have to depend on the first shot. If anything, I like when people seem to relax after the first shot, they like dodge it, and then they like not expecting the follow-up. I don't know why, but it is going to be coming. And can you strafe this thing? Yes, I've done it myself, but I find that the favor is definitely on the Northstar. I've tried to outstrafe this guy, and he's gonna get you eventually. Fireworks. Happy 4th of July, belated. Anyways, what are we gonna talk about? Okay, the last little things I want to say about this Titan. Yeah, I'm getting super excited because we gotta start talking real fast. Can this Titan get peppered? Hell yeah. Is it very powerful though? Yes, it's got its own countermeasures for rodeoing. It's got additional ones anyways. It's got the smoke plus the cluster missile, which is just absolutely bonkers. It has this flight, the flight and the flight core. You can get extra speed on them if you have the right perks, if you have the right techniques. Check out, again, Dinosword's videos. Dinosaur, the guy tricks me all the time. I'm not sure how to always pronounce that. But there's also shortcuts and levels. You can actually fly over walls and just things that other Titans can't get around, so all of a sudden you're just gone. And if they do manage to get around, then there's booby traps. Alright, comment, like, all that stuff. Thank you for watching. I did this a couple of times. If you really want to get somebody off of you, you can double up by dropping your smoke and the cluster missile, and if you're just going like right through it or on the border of it, you barely take any damage, and it's so much faster. It's not so much faster, but it actually is. Smoke is quite slow. It takes like what, 1, 2 ticks, 3 ticks maybe almost. The cluster missile, usually it's about two of those explosions, so then it seems to be somewhat random, but I still think it's a kind of cool strategy. If you're still here, by the way, we need a 4th for the podcast. If you're interested, let me know. I'm also looking for a good fellow Scorch, maybe a couple of you, and an Ion. So if you guys want to be in a video, drop me a line. Alright, y'all have a good one.